Joe Walker here at Deaf Digits Guitar Lessons in Seattle, Washington. And I'm going live right now for my student Donella. She is a beginner student and she's been interested in learning Elliott Smith's Behind the Bars, which is taken as a whole. It's too advanced to do right now for her. But we can look at the verse chords, and there's a cycle of chords in there that almost repeats. It's kind of like one variation, then different variation. We're just going to take one variation and pinpoint that and call it the Sad Pop Progression. Because we hear this in all kinds of pop tunes. We hear it in Between the Bars, excuse me. We hear it in Between the Bars, Sarah McLachlan's Building a Mystery, Zombie by the Cranberries, all sorts of places. So there are two ways to play it that lie easily with open chords in the left hand, where you don't have to use any bar chords. One is A minor, F. I recommend playing your F like this, which is mute, fret 3, 3, 2, 1, mute. Then C, and then G. So those four chords going over and over. A minor, F, C, G, A minor, F, C, G. Now this progression can happen in a lot of different keys. It can happen in any key. And one way to change the key on the guitar is use capo. So we can take the capo and just put it anywhere to get a new key. And we get a different sound. I'm going to put it capo fret 4 just to experiment with this. And when I start playing from A minor, it's going to sound like we're in a different world until we go through the cycle, and then we realize, oh, it's the same feeling we get from a different place. A minor, F, C, G, A minor, F, C, G. So work on going those four chords over and over. A minor, F, C, G. Start with just doing one strum on each chord, and work on moving your fingers efficiently straight from one to the next one. F might be the one that's most challenging because you're going to use 4 fingers on it. The next thing you can do, let's change it to a different key. Sometimes you'll see this in the key of A minor, like we just did. A minor is the home chord when we're doing it in that cycle. Sometimes you'll see it in the key of E minor. In that case, E minor is our starting chord, and it's going to be a different cycle of 4 chords that, again, gives us the same feeling of the Sad Pop Chord Progression. E minor, C, G, and D. And now it sounds like the landscape has kind of changed because these are different chord voicings. It's like you're navigating in different ways because we have different numbers of strings on each of the chords. E minor, for example, is using 6 strings, whereas A minor was only using 5 strings. So the chords sound like they have a little bit of a different texture from the A minor version, but we still get the same overall feeling. C, G, D, E minor, C, G, D, E minor. And when you're going through that cycle, E minor is your home chord. That's your starting point. And you're doing those 4 chords over and over. So again, we can take that and put the capo on and do that in different places. I'll move it up high and do capo fret 8. This will sound, again, like a drastically different landscape, but the feeling we get of the overall chord progression is going to be the same. E minor, C, G, D, E minor, C, G, D. And the stuff I'm doing over here, instead of strumming the chords, I'm just picking individual strings to fill up the space in between them. And that's something I really like to do when I've got the capo up high. It sounds like you're playing a brand new instrument, like you've got some kind of tiny guitar that you're playing. So one last thing you can do on these is the final chord. Let's see, let's do this without the capo. Let's go back to the A minor version. The last of those 4 chords, since we're talking about Elliott Smith's between the bars, we're going to go A minor, F, then C, and then instead of the G, we're going to play a different version of this G, G over B. And this is going to be mute the low E string, get the 2nd fret on the A string, open, open, and then 3rd fret on the B string, and mute the high E string. So we get mute, 2nd fret, open, open, 3rd fret, mute. And this works as a great transition chord anytime you have A minor and C bookending a G chord, or going from trying to get from A minor to C or from C to A minor. This chord called G over B is a great transition chord in between them. So we have A minor, F, C. Now listen carefully. It has doom, boom, boom. That in the bass line gives you a better sense of continuity, like the chords are better connected. When you're going C, G, A minor. When you do the full chords like that, it's a little bit like you're going, here's C, and here's G over here, and here's A minor over there. And when you're doing this connection, C, G over B, and A minor, it's a little bit like doing, here's C, here's G over B, here's A minor, and they're all connected, one following it right after the other. You can do the same thing in the key of E minor. If we start on E minor, our 4 chords again are E minor, C, G, D. We can do that same movement on the last chord on D. In this case, if your thumb can take it, squeeze the low E string at the 2nd fret, and you get that. And when I do this, I usually try to mute the A string too. But if your thumb can't do that, it's okay. So you would get 2nd fret with your thumb, and then open, open, and then a normal D chord on top. So that, in context now, is going to be E minor, C, G, and then this thumb chord is called D over F sharp. D over F sharp, back to E minor. And again, those low notes are giving you the connected continuity between the chords. G, D over F sharp, E minor. And we hear that pretty clearly in Elliott Smith's tune. Have a good time practicing those. I would, for the sake of learning Elliott Smith, for learning between the bars, he actually tunes his guitar down 2 frets. I believe he tunes it down 2 frets, a whole step, and like all the strings are tuned down a whole step, and he's playing it in open position in A minor. So he's doing A minor, F. He's actually getting a thumb note down there for F, and then C and G over B, playing it like that. So his voice is a man's voice. So if you have a voice that's different from him because you're a woman or because your range is slightly different from him, you might benefit from just moving to a different key, either staying in standard tuning without tuning the guitar down, or maybe even moving the capo up higher, where the frets might cramp your style and get closer together, but it might be much better for your voice. It depends on where your vocal range is, so you'll have to experiment with it. All right. Thank you for watching. That's all I got today. I will see you next time.